couple of things, but we're starting to work on the server. The server plans did not go exactly as expected. Um, some of the settings and stuff have changed. I don't really know, but the guy who's going to let us use his server, so I don't have to worry about abusing admin commands and stuff. Uh, what he told me that he can do isn't exactly what he can do anymore. So, and he doesn't want to do any plugins or anything crazy to the game. So just the base game. Um, so we got to work around it. So we can't put mechs into the wilderness apparently. Or he said that he might be able to, but we can't lower their HP pool, which is the big one. I wanted to lower their HP pool to where they can die from like 2 to 5 magazines of ammunition, or like 1 mag of 50 cal, and then put them into the world to just be like a random sort of encounter that would kind of freak people out and kind of make them spend some of their ammunition. He also said that we couldn't adjust trader prices, so we can't spike up the prices of trucks and all of that. However, we have lower tier loot on the server. Nails and stuff still seem to be spawning fine.
Greetings, human asset. Welcome to Scum Island tutorial protocol provided by the Tech One Corporation. My designation is Dual Energetic Entity Neural Appliance or DINA. I am an artificial intelligence created by the Tech One Corporation tasked with overseeing the Scum Show protocols, including the preparation of human assets. If you wish to activate the tutorial, please do so on your journal interface. Secure channel closed.
Might be able to dump one more point off of that. But yeah, so basically we won't be able to do that, but he can increase puppets and their damage and the amount of animals and all of that. So if we can influence the trader prices, the idea is that we want to lower the spawn rates on the server where they're pretty low, and he said that they're really low right now, and I went on there and I found gasoline and you know, a saw and a bunch of other stuff pretty quickly. So and apparently it affects the airdrops. So I was planning on having airdrops and the kill box being the main way to get guns. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So airdrops, I guess, I don't know what exactly they'll be spawning, if it's affected by the same thing. Maybe it'll spawn lockpicks. Kill boxes are going to be the main way to get guns, I'm guessing. And if the spawn rates are low, I didn't really find any screwdrivers, so if screwdrivers are really rare, maybe the airdrops will drop screwdrivers. But for now, it seems that buying things from the trading post is going to be the main thing. But since we can't influence the prices, we can try and limit the effect of vehicles by reducing the amount of gasoline on the map. So you're going to have to stockpile it and decide when you want to travel and do things. And then the for guns, if they're doing by normal trader prices, I know you can buy some for like 10 to 12K. And on a low pop server or multiplayer server, wolves were going for like half price of single player, so they were going for like 400. So you're looking at about, you know, 3 to 4 wolves to get a gun, but then you're also looking at, say, you know, you got to buy a backpack and all of that. Then you got to buy the gun. You got to bring the wolves up to the shop to sell them. So unless you got a vehicle, it's going to be hard to pile on 4 wolves unless you got a squad. So they're still going to be able to get guns because of the trader. But he's also saying that we might be able to limit the amount that the trader can sell per day. So if that's the case, then we could potentially try and limit the amount of supplies traders can sell you. Maybe sell like, you know, 4 guns a day or something to kind of limit that. And that could be kind of interesting. But right now we're doing a follow-up test, kind of finalizing a build idea that I thought of earlier. Basically, I was thinking about starting a character with 3 strength, 4.5 constitution, and 1.5 dex, and 3 intelligence, leveling up my strength to 5, dropping my driving skill that I had before, starting with medium thievery, which would allow me to just, pick advanced locks if I could really, like, get my hands around it. But then I started looking at the times, and crowbarring with medium skill was like 35 seconds, something like that, with 5 strength. Crowbarring with advanced thievery and 5 strength is like 25 seconds, so 10-second difference is the biggest thing. You're saving 30 seconds on an airdrop. And then I dropped my dex down to 1 and put everything to thievery, so I needed 50,000 points to get to medium, and the crowbar time was basically the same. So then you got me looking at this where it's like 50,000 divided by 50, and then you only need 1,000 lockers to get, you know, medium thievery, which then I could start doing kill boxes somewhat competently maybe. But then you're looking at that, so you're doing 1,000, and it's taking 35 seconds if you're doing it with a crowbar. And then we divide that, and then divide that, and you're looking at 9 to 10 hours to get that to medium, which I know it isn't advanced, but at least I'm able to pick an advanced lock somewhat, so I think that's acceptable for the most part. Um, and then leveling up my other stuff over time, I think would be fine. Just crowbarring, because then when we look at this, if we need 1,000,000 points to get to advanced and we're doing 50, you're looking at 20,000. And if it's taking 35 seconds, it's like 8 days. Let's do that times 24, and let's say you do 4 hours a day. It's a little bit over a month or so. So I think I could manage to not need to blow up, everything. But also, because the server we're building doesn't necessarily require lockpicking to get into bases. It just requires the lockpicking kind of to get the loot. I'm not super opposed to just um, having medium. And now we're also doing some adjustments to conditioning, because now that I'm seeing that I can get away with 1 dexterity, this right now we're going for basic thievery and basic driving, so I can kind of still have some driving skill, which means we're going to need 100,000 points at 50, so you need twice as many, so about 2,000, which is, you know, gonna be interesting. Actually, let's just go ahead and finish that calculation. So 2,000 lockers, if it is still 35 seconds, 60 divided by 60, so 19.4 hours. I'm not opposed to that. Now, I would say I wouldn't even bother leveling it in the first place. But if screwdrivers are rare, then you're going to need a lockpicking board to actually, lockpick them, or I guess I could just use a crowbar at the beginning. So we got a little bit of debate to have when it comes to this stuff. So basic, let's say basic is 10,000. You're looking at 200 lockers, and with no thievery and 3 strength, it's probably like a minute a locker. maybe a little bit more than that. So if you're taking 200 minutes here, it's like 3 hours. But you can't really just do that with the crowbar because you're thinking, going to the police station, your crowbar and these lockers open. I get, 4 to 8. I know, I can get 30 at some places, so let's say that I get 30. All right. So 30 lockers times 50 is pretty close. That's about 30 minutes. Or no, that's for 2000 XP, so I'd have to do that 5 times. 5, 6 times. And I don't think that's bad. I could do that 5, 6 times, knock that out. Because I already know that with these up here in C2 that I can get 30, and I already have plans of going down to the C3 town, which means I'm going to have access to this town, and I'll have access to the dam in here, which will be pretty good. And then I have the possibility of getting a sword or something from the B3 castle. It's going to be the idea, and I guess I have access to this campground or whatever here. I don't know if there's any lockers there, but basically I should be able to mosey on up here, hit the lockers, do that 6 times, get the basic, and then from there, if everything's the same, we should be good. But first off, let's just see if these are the same. So I got to get this timer going. Reset it. 1, 2, 3, go. Looks pretty similar so far. The main thing's just having a game plan. So 35 seconds isn't bad, which means all I would have to do is kind of focus on my strength early. It looks like it's going to be about the same. Yeah, so about 35 seconds. Which, isn't terrible. So the main thing that you have to do is get your strength up at the beginning of the game. So looking at 2 points of strength to get to 5 at 0.384. So a couple of days maybe to get to 5. And I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of knock out one of the videos since we're already talking about thievery and stuff anyway. Maybe. So dexterity skills to level this. Probably all these are the easiest skill. None of these are mission critical at the beginning of the game. Now looking at these though, none of them are crazy super important. Demolition you can level really easy. All the driving skills, they don't really matter unless you have a vehicle. PvP servers, or if these are really hard to get your hands on, then having a faster driving skill will help you like get out of there and not die so quick, which I like. Throwing skill, really easy. You just pick up rocks. You can throw them at a dead puppet body. You get 50 XP per, and that's faster than brawling and melee weapons, like even at advanced. So it levels up pretty quick, and it's not really the most vital skill in the world. You just level this up over time. Stealth, pretty nice to have early, kind of a pain to level. I don't like passively leveling it, but isn't the hugest thing in the world to me. But in this tree, I would say advanced stealth, advanced thievery, probably the top two for PvP stuff. Um, Driving skill, I like to take this at least like 50% to medium, so you get 100 kilometers per hour and very rare stalls. And I like leveling that. And motorcycling, I like to have at least basic because 40 kilometers an hour on a motorcycle that can stall and stuff gets you killed way too easily. Whereas at least, 60 kilometers per hour, you're kind of doubling the amount of movement speed of a person on foot. So you got a chance. Other than that, I don't really think there's much to talk about with dexterity. I think it's fine. Um, but seemingly, though, if you don't really care about getting advanced thievery so fast, you don't really have to worry about getting this at the beginning of the game. So I'm probably going to make a character now with one dexterity and then go basic driving, basic motorcycling. And then I'll level up my driving and stuff and my motorcycling decently enough. And then with thievery, even if, with three strength, even if it takes me a minute a piece. You're talking 6 runs through 30 lockers, so 3 hours to get basic, and then as long as I can get my strength from 3 to 5, then I will be able to basically crowbar lockers open at 35 seconds apiece, which is good enough for the uh, airdrops. So at 5 strength and advanced thievery, you can get that down to 25 seconds. So you're looking at 3 minutes for the three um, containers that are in there. But 35 seconds, you're still looking at, 3 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that, which isn't the biggest deal. I mean, it's going to basically cost you the amount of time it would take to crowbar one of those lockers. And if you have any teammates, then it'll be a lot easier to do that anyway. So, not the hugest thing. 10 seconds. I mean, it does add up. Don't get me wrong. 10 lockers. You know, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest thing. And then after that, when you get to medium, I'll at least be able to have the opportunity to pick a car door because it's going to have an advanced lock on it most likely. And as long as I have the stuff to, lock pick it, I have the ability to lock pick that lock decently enough. And then when we go over to the a million points, even if we're still getting 50 XP per, you're looking at 20,000 lockers. Um, if you wanted to do that, and then if we're getting them at 35 seconds, you're looking at about 8 days of consistent leveling. So I mean, a couple months, you know, and as long as lock picking isn't the main way to raid bases, which the way we're building the server isn't, really all that's going to do is kind of limit us on kill boxes. And there's a very big possibility that I find somebody that has advanced lock picking to help with the team. But this frees up a lot of skill points here. You can already see, like, I'm at least going to have my advanced intelligence, but it does allow me to level up my constitution and stuff here well. Stealth wise, though, this goes up kind of slowly. It does take a little while. I do kind of want to level this early if I really wanted to, but I prefer to have my driving skill over stealth early. And thanks for leveling this crouch walking and prone crawling around. I've had mixed results with like different test scenarios with different kind of footwear and walking on gravel and dirt and transitioning in and out of bushes and things. But I can't really say 100% that it helps or not. It seemed like it did. Especially the rag shoes seemed like they did during the test, but it's minimal. So it wasn't that big of a deal. So dexterity is one of those stats that most people either go all in or you don't. I mean, it's not that big of a thing, and leveling the stat up itself, all you basically got to do is be in game. So this will level up to 5 just by like leveling your stealth. And if you're worried about your, leveling your strength or whatever to get your thievery going, the way I'm justifying it, especially with taking medical early, um, is that I need to level my survival anyway. So while you're leveling your survival, just go ahead and put a log and a branch into a hiking backpack, and you will end up getting about the max strength gain for this. Um, and then as long as you're not filling up blueprints to level your engineering, your strength is going to be fine. You're not going to end up using the log most likely out of your blueprint, and you'll get your survival up fine. And then once your strength and survival are pretty decently leveled, then you can transition over engineering, and then you can keep a branch and stuff in there, and then keep leveling your strength a little bit more with that. And that's basically how I would get my strength up to 5 to get thievery going. But I'll leave that up to you. I'll thank you for watching this video if you still did. Not the most complex attribute, and probably kind of controversial, but personally, I think out of any of this, driving skill better than anything. Um, Even right now, even though I can put basic in driving and basic in motorcycling, I'm very tempted just to put it all in driving because trucks are just a lot more important than motorcycles, to be honest. And I can ride a motorcycle around for a while and probably get it leveled up. So for me personally, I would probably just dump everything into driving as much as possible. But for an example, we have basic driving right now. I really am not a big fan of no motorcycle skill, but it's manageable. Because motorcycles are at least more maneuverable and get around. They don't have storage space, so they're more or less just like kind of a transport, a scout vehicle, if you will. Especially on the server I plan on building. So, although I wasn't able to get all the things the way I designed or wanted it to be in a server, we're gonna have to use the basic settings as much as possible. But I think we can do it. The main thing is that we want to limit guns on the server, and one way or another, even with basic settings, we're gonna limit the guns that are progressed on the server. I don't want somebody. The idea is that I didn't want somebody to get guns in the first couple of days. I wanted them to be able to get guns, but maybe it would take them, a few days to get it going. Alright, so this is basic driving. Definitely a lot more gear grinding there. But I think that's acceptable. Still going about 100 kilometers an hour, but you're going to have to deal with a lot more gear grinding and probably stalling, so. That's probably what I'm going to do, is just level my thievery up naturally and go ahead and take the driving skills early. Now, if we look at no skill while driving something such as a dirt bike, a lot of times you'll end up stalling out like 7 times. And then you're going 40 kilometers an hour. Super annoying. Now, if I'm trying to drive this down the road, there's a very big chance that I get shot off of this thing. And also a good chance that somebody can just run literally right next to me and cut me off. Now, if you get a basic, then you're going 60 kilometers an hour. At least you can outrun somebody. That's the only thing I can really say about that. So, I think with the character we're going to put onto the server, I'm just going to go ahead and use the crowbar to level up my thievery to basic and get the 5 strength. So, once we get the server all tested out, if anyone wants to try and join that or help me test out some things, because I need to see what the loot's like. I'm talking to the server owner right now about maybe disabling the puppets and mechs and stuff so we can just go into the bunkers and test out what the spawns are like. But I went onto the server just a minute ago and I didn't see a bunch of screwdrivers and stuff, but I went to a garage and found a saw and a gas stove and something else that was pretty decent. And puppets were still dropping nails and bolts. So, I mean, that's something. I don't know exactly what it has it set to, but as soon as we figure that out, the main thing is that I want guns to be kind of rare on the map, and if you do find one, you want to hold on to it. But the fact that the traders are still going to sell them for the same price as probably the online server, which is like 10 to 12,000 for like a basic gun, kind of bugs me a little bit. So the real limiting factor is going to be keeping people from being able to hunt animals and just instantly going to the trader and buying these guns in bulk. So if I have to limit a trader buy to like one gun per trader or something every day, I will, just so other players hunt you down and maybe we can damage that gun. But I'd prefer not to let it get that out of hand. I'm thinking, 4 or 5 guns could be decent per day. I mean, you got to think, depending on how many people are on the server, the big power spikes are going to be the airdrops, the kill box, and the guns at this buy station. And as long as what the plan is right now is that if you don't have access to a vehicle, it's going to be hard for you just to make a bunch of money at the trader. So we're going to try and limit the gas spawns as much as we can. So if you want to drive your vehicle a lot, you're going to have to stockpile gas and then use it kind of like Mad Max, where you're going to have to come through and like slowly, prepare your vehicles and get into fights and stuff. And I think that'd be a lot cooler than just driving them around all willy-nilly. It would be more like you hear a vehicle coming by your base, so you pull your vehicle out and you go to war and try to get another vehicle. I think that'd be kind of neat. Um, but basically, I mean, kind of like C2 Trader, there's wolves and stuff that spawn up here at this castle. So technically, someone could set up there, kill a wolf. They're gonna like harvest it, have to run down to the traders, sell it, get a couple $100, probably get about $300 maybe, and then you're gonna have to run all the way back, try to get another wolf or a piece of it, and then come back down again, and then you're gonna have to do that 3 to 4 times to get a gun. So it's gonna be slower than normal for sure. And then if the trader can only sell one gun or so a day, then that means that all the people trying to go that trader get a gun might be looking for you. And it also means that if you're living around this trader and everyone has bases around this trader because not everyone has cars, then everyone in this area, there's probably only going to be a couple of people that have guns. And then they're going to have to decide whether they want to keep staying in this area or if they want to try to migrate towards another trading post. But I'm thinking what will happen is that players that join will end up setting somewhere near these trading posts early, and then uh, their bases and stuff will kind of be set up around the traders, and you'll have kind of segregated zones. And then once they get kind of more situated, they're going to progress towards like kill boxes and stuff, and maybe they'll run into each other or get into more conflict. But I don't really know exactly how it was. And the airplanes are going to be the biggest deal. I think that's going to be the biggest power spike. So people that get a hold of airplanes early are going to have a very, very strong position on the map. And I'm not exactly sure how to balance that, to be honest, because it's the same game plan I had. Um, Fly an airplane, you land them in the trading posts and stuff. The only thing I could say about that is that if someone with a gun or someone in a base with a gun sees an airplane coming ahead, they are fairly easy to shoot down. So there is a potential of you getting murdered on your way to the trading post and losing a bunch of money or something, and your planes. and possibly any guns that you had. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. I know I got off topic a little bit. Um, Hopefully it helped you out a little bit. There isn't a whole lot I can say about dexterity. There's only a couple skills that really seem to matter very much at all. Um, Leveling wise, they're not too bad for the most part, depending on the server. So the server I'm gonna make, it might be somewhat annoying to level driving, but I don't think it's gonna be that bad as long as you like have basic early, most likely, and uh, stealth and all that other stuff. You don't even need the aviation. There's nothing that hardly goes wrong with planes. So